Hey, what is up guys? GLA here, bringing you guys another Madden 22 rebuild. This realistic rebuild is going to be for the Pittsburgh Steelers. We're going to be starting with the offseason, so for Super Bowl 56, it's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Oddly enough, in Ben Roethlisberger's final season, we actually went 10-7, and we made the playoffs. Not only that, we almost made the Super Bowl, so our team ended up losing to the Kansas City Chiefs 31-10, but we were released in the AFC Championship game, which I did not expect. For this sim, I'm going to be using the vertical zone run offensive scheme with the Carolina Panthers playbook, and then for the defensive scheme, I'm going to be using Disguise 3-4 with the Baltimore Ravens defensive playbook. For sims, it actually does matter which playbook and scheme you use, so I like the Carolina Panthers playbook specifically on offense. It's a good balanced playbook, and it does get the running back involved in the pass game as well. Right now, we have an 81 overall offense. Ben Roethlisberger is not going to be returning, so this is his final season. Juju Smith-Schuster, his contract is up, so I might try and bring him back. I know he's going to be testing free agency in real life, but I wouldn't mind having him. He is an 85 overall. He also has star dev, and right now he's only 25 years old. We also have Najee Harris, who is an 89 overall, and he has Superstar Dev. Johnson is now a 90 overall with Superstar Dev as well. And then Pat Freiermuth is an 80 overall with Star Dev. So right now, I think the main thing I want to upgrade on offense is maybe adding one or two stud offensive linemen. It's a pretty average O-line. It's not terrible, but it's also not great. So right now our defense is an 85 overall. The main thing I want to upgrade on defense is going to be defensive tackle. Our starter right now, he's an 80 overall, but he's 35 years old. I expect him to regress. He's only normal dev as well. So I'm going to bring in a new defensive tackle as well as add some new corners, possibly through the draft or free agency. But besides that, the rest of the defense looks pretty good. TJ Watt's a 99 overall. He's superstar X Factor. Hayward is also X Factor, and then he's a 97 overall. With him, I'm kind of concerned. He's 33 years old, but right now with his contract, we're not really going to be able to trade him or move him. He's actually signed for another 3 years, and he has a pretty hefty bonus, so I'll probably hold on to him for at least 1 or 2 more seasons, and then I don't know, we might try and trade him if he dips below 90. But right now, that's what the defense looks like. Pretty good pieces in place, but we're going to be able to add some key players. Right now, Minkah Fitzpatrick is also a 93 overall, and he's got superstar dev. So right now, looking at contracts, we have about $64 million in cap space. Juju is going to be one of the first players I'm going to try and target in the re-signing process. We're also going to try and bring back Turner. He's a little bit older, but he is 80 overall, and he's got star dev. We're going to let Ebron walk, and then I probably won't bring back Witherspoon or, let's see, Joe Hayden. I'll let them walk into free agency, and we will try and re-sign Terrell Edmonds as well. So for his final season, it looks like Big Ben did okay. He had 4,100 yards passing, 32 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, and a 59% completion percentage. We're going to try and draft a new quarterback in the upcoming draft, so that'll be exciting. I do want to target Kenny Pickett out of Pitt. And then rushing, it looks like Najee Harris did great. He had 1,200 yards rushing and 6 touchdowns. Receiving, Juju was our leading receiver with 1,000 yards and 9 touchdowns. Johnson had 900 yards and 8 TDs. And then Chase Claypool had 740 yards and 5 touchdowns. And then it looks like Najee Harris also had 500 yards receiving and 5 TDs. So his total per rush yards were probably at about 1,700 yards, which is really good for him. Defensively, Joe Schobert actually led the team in tackles. I'm probably going to try and trade him. Tackle for losses, it looks like it was Hayward with 15. Sacks, it was TJ Watt with 18. And then interceptions was Fitzpatrick with 3, Joe Hayden with 2, and Terrell Edmonds with 2 as well. And the Kansas City Chiefs won their 3rd Super Bowl, so they actually beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 39-34, and Patrick Mahomes was the Super Bowl MVP. Looks like Josh Allen was the NFL MVP. Urban Meyer won Coach of the Year. That's crazy. And then the Offensive Player of the Year was Josh Allen. Defensive Player of the Year was J.J. Watt for the Cardinals. Offensive Rookie was Justin Fields, and then the Defensive Rookie of the Year was the Browns outside linebacker Jeremiah Owusu. To make this realistic, I did go ahead and put Tom Brady's overall all the way down to a 25 overall for improviser, and then I give him a 0 signing bonus just to make sure that he is basically forced retired then, and the Buccaneers are going to be looking for a new quarterback as well. And because Big Ben officially did retire at the end of the season, I did go ahead and put him all the way down to a 19 overall, and then I also gave him a 0 signing bonus as well. His contract was going to expire, but this basically ensures that he's not going to be starting for another team next year. Time to start re-signing some players. We're going to go ahead and start with Juju Smith-Schuster. Next up will be right guard Trey Turner. Looks like he only wants a 2-year deal. I'm fine with that because he's going to be, looks like 29 years old. So we'll have him locked down for the next 2 years at right guard. I'm also going to offer a contract to Terrell Edmonds. He's 25 years old. We're going to offer him a 5-year deal worth $30.2 million. I'm going to try and bring back wide receiver James Washington as well. He's 26 years old. He only wants a 3-year deal, and he's a 75 overall. I'm also going to bring back our right tackle, Okorafor. So he's 25 years old, but he's a 74 overall. He's okay, but I just want to make sure we have at least a salvageable player on the offensive line at right tackle, just in case we're not able to add any more players through free agency. And that's it for re-signing players. We're going to go ahead and start free agency now and see who we can add through the free agency period. And before we do that, it actually looks like the only player that we had retire was quarterback Ben Roethlisberger, officially retired after 18 years. And it looks like Tom Brady actually did not retire, so it's a good thing that we actually adjusted his ratings all the way down. That way the Bucs are going to be forced to look for a different quarterback or start Kyle Trask. So right now, after the re-signings, we do have about $46 million in cap. I want to try and target Teron Armstead at left tackle. He is superstar dev, and then he's also a 95 overall. So we're going to offer him a ton of money because we do want to try and get at least one really solid player on our offensive line. I'm actually going to offer him about $50 million and lock him down over the next 2 years. Alright, and it looks like our starting defensive tackle regressed all the way down to a 73. I'm going to target Sebastian Joseph Day at defensive tackle. He's 27. He's star dev. He's an 85 overall, and he also fits our scheme as well. So we're going to go ahead and offer him a decent amount of money, probably like $35 million if we can get up to that. His initial, it looks like he wants for a fair offer 3-year $28 million. So we're going to offer him 3-year $35 million just to ensure that we're able to get him at defensive tackle. At corner, Nick Needham is available. He's 25 years old, 76 overall, and he's a star dev. He's also a good scheme fit for us. So we're going to offer him a little bit of money to try and come here as well. And we're going to offer him about $9 million over 2 years. I'm also going to offer a contract to Emmanuel Mosley. He's only normal dev, but he's 77 overall. He's 26 years old, and he's also a good scheme fit for us as well. So we're going to offer him about $10 million over 2 years to try and bring him onto our team. I went ahead and traded middle linebacker Joe Schobert to the Houston Texans with a 7th round pick. In return, we get the number 45 overall pick in the 2nd round of the 2022 NFL Draft. That freed up some cap space for us. I'm going to try and sign middle linebacker Chris Barnes. He's 78 overall, he's a star dev, and he's only 24 years old. Looks like he just wants 3 years and a $17 million deal, so we're going to offer him $20 million over 3 years. Alright, and that went pretty good. The only player that rejected us was cornerback Needham, so I might try and sign another cornerback, but we at least got Barnes, Joseph Day, Armstead, and Mosley. So we have about $9 million in cap available, so I'm going to try and sign cornerback Darius Williams. He's a good scheme fit, he's an 81 overall, and he's star dev, so we're going to offer him a 1-year deal here. So it looks like he wants 1 year and a $7.8 million deal, so we're going to offer him about 8.3. To clear some cap, I actually sent our previous starting defensive tackle, Alualu, to the Arizona Cardinals in exchange for a 7th round pick. So that's going to free up a couple $1 million for us on our cap space. So this is pretty crazy. For the mock draft, they have Trevor Penning going number 1 overall in this draft. I'm pretty sure he's like the number 4 or 5 left tackle in this draft class, so it's pretty crazy that the mock has the Jets picking him number 1 overall, especially over a player like Evan Neal. But right now it looks like it has us projected to get, let's see, we're all the way down here at 29. You think we're going to get Malik Willis? Kenny Pickett went number 27, so I'm probably going to try and move up in the draft, possibly to number, I don't know, maybe 13 or 14, just to make sure we can get the quarterback that we want. All right, and it looks like Williams also declined our offer, so we're going to try and get someone else at corner now. So let's see who else is available. So Kyle Fuller is available. He's 30 years old. He's an 80 overall, and he has also got star dev. So I'm going to try and offer him a little bit more than he wants to try and get him to sign. Looks like he wants a 1-year, $7.18 million deal, so we're going to offer him $8 million. And Fuller accepted that offer, so he's going to be one of our starting cornerbacks this year. Let's go ahead and look at mock draft number 5 and see who they think we're going to pick. They still have Trevor Penning as the number 1 overall pick, which I think is crazy. I have no idea why that's happening. But looking at our predictions, they have Matt Corral still going to the Washington Commanders at 17. And then, let's see, Kenny Pickett going to the Giants at 26. And then they think we're going to pick Sam Howell at 29. I really want Kenny Pickett for this rebuild. So once again, I'm going to trade up possibly to number, I don't know, 15 or 14 and see if we can move up to get Kenny Pickett in this draft. So I was able to move up from the number 29 spot to the number 14 spot thanks to the Atlanta Falcons. I went ahead and traded them my number 29 pick, but then I traded them a future second round pick in 2023 and a future third round pick in 2023. So we still have 2 second round picks and a third round pick in 2022 to go along with our number 14 overall pick now in the first round. And this is how that looks. So we have a first round pick, 2 second round picks, a third, and a 7th. Actually, 2 7th round picks in 2022, and then in 2023 we have a 1st, a 4th, a 5th, a 6th, and a 7th. So time to start the NFL draft. Let's see who the New York Jets pick, and they pick Trevor Penning, left tackle. That's really shocking. And with the second pick, defensive end Kayvon Thibodeau goes to the Minnesota Vikings. Number 3 to the Eagles is Aiden Hutchinson. Number 4 to the Chargers is going to be strong safety Kyle Hamilton. And number 5 is Evan Neal, who probably should have been the first overall pick if the Jets wanted a really solid left tackle. Next up is going to be Derek Stingley to the Raiders. And number 7, Charles Cross goes to the Eagles. The Patriots pick middle linebacker Devin Lloyd. The Eagles select center Tyler Linderbaum from Iowa. The Lions select wide receiver Drake London. The Giants selected corner Ahmad Gardner from Cincinnati. Ravens selected defensive end George Karlaftis. The Houston Texans selected defensive end David Ajabo. So we are now on the clock, and we're going to go ahead and pick our quarterback now. We're going to go with Kenny Pickett. We do have him 80% scouted, so let me go ahead and show you guys what his stats look like. He has A for throw accuracy deep, A for short, and then A for throw under pressure. And then for physical traits, he has great acceleration, elite jumping, good speed, and then solid throw power. He's going to be really accurate for us. Looks like at his pro day, he ran a 4.55, so he's at least pretty mobile. He's not super fast like Malik Willis, but he can at least scramble. So let's go ahead and pick Kenny Pickett, and he's got hidden dev. He is going to be our starting quarterback for the rest of this rebuild. For our first second round pick, it looks like Zion Johnson is currently available at guard. He has A for impact block, C for run block, C for run block finesse, and B for run block power. He's got a D for pass block finesse, but that's okay. We're going to put him at guard. Physically, he looks pretty good. He's got great acceleration, elite agility, great change of direction, good speed, and good strength. So we're going to go ahead and select him at guard with our second round pick. He also has hidden dev. He's got 87 strength, 68 speed, and 81 acceleration. For our next pick in the second round, cornerback Roger McCreary is currently available. For his skills, it looks like he has C man coverage, C zone coverage, and then physically, he has great acceleration, good speed, and then he's solid for pretty much everything else, but he ran a 4.4 40-yard dash, so we're going to go ahead and select him with our second round pick. He just has normal dev, but he does have 92 speed and 92 acceleration. For our third round pick, wide receiver John Mechie is currently available. He's got good speed. He ran a 4.42 40-yard dash. And then skills, he's got C for juke, and then D release, D spin move. So he's a guy that I think potentially we could build on our team and progress. I'm going to go ahead and take him with our third round pick. So he's got normal dev, but he does have 92 speed and 91 acceleration. So he's going to be a good depth wide receiver for us that hopefully we can develop over the next few years. I'm going to go ahead and sim the rest of the draft. We just have a couple 7th round picks, but let's go ahead and go to the end and just see how all of these prospects look through the recap. All right, and so it looks like Kenny Pickett's a 74 overall, Johnson's a 70, McCreary is a 71, and so is Mechie. And then it looks like the computer drafted Josh Ross and Darian Butler for us as well at linebacker. They probably wouldn't even make our team, but I'm really happy with our first 4 picks. Let's go ahead and look and see how these guys look at the top. And yeah, this makes no sense. I don't know why the Jets picked Trevor Penning. He's only a 72 overall. There are so many other good players, like Evan Neal is a 78, Cross is a 76, and then I think also there's another tackle. Yep, it looks like Eakham's also at 75, so I don't really know why the Jets decided to pick Penning at number 1, typical Jets move, but everyone else here looked pretty good. It looks like the top overall players were Kayvon Thibodeau, Aiden Hutchinson, Kyle Hamilton, Evan Neal, and then Kenneth Walker III is a 78 overall, Derek Stingley is a 77, and so is George Karlaftis. And then let's go ahead and see if we can find, looks like Matt Corral's the top quarterback at 74 overall, Kenny Pickett's at 74, and then let's see, where is Malik Willis is a 73, and he went to the Giants. So here's our starting lineup for season number 2. So we have Armstead at left tackle, Dotson, Green, Turner, and Okorafor on the offensive line. We have Pat Freiermuth at tight end. We have Juju Smith-Schuster at wide receiver. We have Kenny Pickett at quarterback, Najee Harris at running back, and Johnson at wide receiver. So the offense looks okay. It looks like we're an 84 overall offense. And here's our starting defense. So we brought in Joseph Day for defensive tackle. We brought in Barnes. And then right now Fitzpatrick is a superstar. He is a 93 overall. TJ Watt is an X Factor. He's 99. And then Hayward is a 95. Also superstar X Factor. So right now the defense looks pretty good. They are an 87 overall. So let's go ahead and sim the season and see how this squad does for season number 2. So we ended up finishing 9-8. So we just missed the playoffs, but we have an 87 overall team. We have an 87 overall offense and defense. So it's pretty good. Let's go ahead and look at the stats and just see how everyone did. So quarterback Kenny Pickett threw for 3,700 yards. He had 36 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, and a 63% completion percentage. In year 1, that's not too bad. Looks like he's a star dev. So right now he's going to be 24 years old going into the second season. So pretty good. He's a 77 overall now. So overall, I would say that's a pretty good rookie season. It's too bad that we didn't go into the playoffs, but his development is going to be key for year 3. Rushing, Najee Harris did fantastic. He had 1,700 yards rushing, 15 touchdowns, and it looks like he had 1 fumble. He broke 48 tackles as well. He's a superstar dev now, and he's a 95 overall. Receiving, it looks like Juju led the team with only 880 yards receiving and 7 touchdowns. Johnson had 826 and 6 TDs. Chase Claypool had 684 yards and 9 TDs. And then Freiermuth had 556 yards and 6 touchdowns. And then Najee Harris had 528 yards and 6 TDs. So that's pretty fantastic that he did that good receiving as well as with his rushing yards as well. Defensively, Chris Barnes led the team in tackles with 124. Tackle for loss was Steven Tuitt with 15. Sacks was TJ Watt with 15. And then interceptions was Terrell Edmonds with 5. Let's see, right now he's an 82 overall. Still normal dev, but that's pretty good for a strong safety. And then it looks like Justin Lane had 3 interceptions. Kyle Fuller had 3. Chris Barnes had 2. And then Devin Bush also had 2. Chris Barnes right now is still star dev, but he's an 81 overall. So this team showed promise in year 2. Kenny Pickett's a 77 overall. Harris is a 95. Johnson's a 91. Juju is an 86. Freiermuth is an 82. And then it looks like the O-line got a little bit better. Dotson's an 80. Turner's an 82. Okorafor is all the way up to a 78. Green's a 79. And then it looks like Armstead's a 97. Defensively, the squad looks pretty good too. Joseph Day's an 87. Tuitt's a 90. And then it looks like Sutton's all the way up to an 80. Edmonds is an 82. Bush is an 82. And then Highsmith is also an 81. And then Fitzpatrick's all the way up to a 95 now. Here is the playoff bracket. Let's go ahead and sim all the way to the Super Bowl. And we're going to see who wins the Super Bowl in year 2. It looks like the number 1 seed in the NFC is the Carolina Panthers. And in the AFC, it's the Tennessee Titans. And in a shocking twist, the Jacksonville Jaguars won the Super Bowl. They beat the Washington Commanders. Trevor Lawrence was the Super Bowl MVP. Looks like the NFL MVP actually went to Desmond Ridder for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Coach of the Year was Matt Rule for the Panthers. The Offensive Player of the Year was Desmond Ridder for the Bucks. Khalil Mack won Defensive Player of the Year for the Bears. Offensive Rookie of the Year was also Ridder. And then the Defensive Rookie of the Year was Kayvon Thibodeau for the Vikings. And here's the list of retired players. We didn't have anyone retire from the Steelers. It looks like Julio Jones did retire, but not too many big names besides Julio Jones, and JJ Watt also retired with the Cardinals. Time to start negotiating with our free agent players whose contracts are up. We do have $78 million available in cap, but there's also some big name players that we need to try and re-sign. So let's go ahead and start doing that now. So we have a couple players that are priorities. Fitzpatrick, he's a 94 overall. He's 26 years old. He's superstar dev. Tuitt's 30 years old. He's a star dev. He's 88 overall, so we might let him walk. Johnson's a 90 overall. He's superstar dev. I definitely want to bring him back. He's 27. And then Devin Bush is 25. He's got star dev and he's an 81. I definitely want to bring back those three and then go into free agency with a little bit of cap space. We're able to re-sign Fitzpatrick. Let's go ahead and re-sign Johnson now. Looks like he wants a 4-year, $70 million deal. I'm going to offer him just a little bit more, probably like 75 if we can get up to that. 74.9, and there is 75. And it looks like he re-signed as well. Let's go ahead and re-sign Devin Bush. Bush wants a 3-year, $22.4 million deal. I don't mind giving him that. Gonna give him, let's get in the ballpark of 25, see if he accepts it. And it looks like he did, so we were able to get our top 3 guys back. I'm gonna let everyone else walk. I want to have a little bit of cap space going into the last season of free agency that we're gonna have, but I'm pretty happy with the guys that we just re-signed. So there's not a whole lot of options at defensive end, so I'm going to try and bring back Tuitt. He wants a 2-year deal worth $24.5 million. We do have about $38 million in available cap space, so I'm going to try and bring him back just on a 2-year deal. So this will expire when he's 32, and then at that time, realistically, the team would move on from him, I would think, based on age, but who knows. We're going to go and offer him this contract. I definitely want to try and bring in Sean Murphy-Bunting. So he's a 83 overall corner. He's 26 years old, and he's also got star dev. So we're going to offer him, looks like he wants 3 years, $26.5 million. I'm going to offer him around 30.7, and hopefully he accepts that. It looks like with that offer, we are his #1 bidder. I'm also going to offer a contract to Greedy Williams. So he's 25 years old, 81 overall. He's got star dev. He's a good scheme fit as well for us. So he wants a 4-year, $26 million deal, and I'm going to offer him, let's see, let's get up to 31 at least. Let me bring this a little bit down, just so we can get to 31.5, and that'll be the offer I give him. Let's see where we rank there, and we're his #1 bidder. So I'm good with that. We're gonna have $8 million in cap room, which I'll need for like reserve players and players that we draft. Let's see if these guys accept these offers. All right, and it looks like Murphy, Bunting, Tuitt, and Williams all accepted the offers. That's fantastic. That's going to help our defense. So we just got our 2 starting corners and our defensive end back on the defensive side of the ball. So right now, the first mock draft that I'm looking at, it looks like they have us taking a wide receiver named Chad McIntosh. In mock draft number 3, they have us taking middle linebacker Cordell Allen. Mock draft number 2, looks like they predicted us to take a running back for some reason, and at one point we were doing pretty good for us to be ranked number 31 overall. We must have had a really strong start to the season, and then we kind of fell flat after that. And then in the first mock draft, they have us taking, let's see, looks like another running back named Jason Murray. All right, so it looks like this draft class is pretty deep at corner, so I may try and target a corner. May even go like middle linebacker. There's a couple guys at the top. We haven't really, looks like, scouted too many of these guys very in depth. Looks like our scouts are just sleeping and not doing anything for some reason. So we'll see what we do. We could always go O-line. It looks like there's a couple good left tackles, at least based on projection. So we'll get into these guys a little bit more. It looks like we did scout right guard and left guard, I believe. Nope, just left guard. So looks like we have at least 70% completed on just one left guard. And then I don't really want to go wide receiver. We're already pretty good. Looks like we have a B+ grade and 11 active wide receivers, so we'll see what we do here in this draft. So I'm really leaning towards getting a cornerback with our first round pick. I found this corner named DeAndre Smith. He has C press and B zone coverage, but then physically he ran a 4.48 to 4.47 40, and he has the elite acceleration as well. If he's there in the first round, I'll probably try and draft him. So mock draft number 5 is out, and it looks like they think we're going to take cornerback Matt Burney. Looks like Matt has C zone coverage. Physically, he ran a 4.41 to a 4.38 40-yard dash. That's pretty good. And then let's see if we can see any more skills. He has A hit power, which is pretty interesting for a corner, so he might end up being pretty good in run defense. Maybe, but at least he has C for zone coverage, so we could even go with him as well. We'll see how this draft goes. And with the first pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Philadelphia Eagles select cornerback Dorian Woodbury. Let's go ahead and skip to our pick and see who's available at number 17. So there's a couple corners available here. So Darrell Carmichael is available. So is Matt Burney. So is DeAndre Smith. And we actually have Smith 95% scouted right now. So it looks like he has C for press, D for man coverage, B for zone coverage, and then he ran like a 4.48 40 time, so he looks okay. Matt Burney, who we were mocked to draft, has C zone coverage, a 4.41 to 4.38 40 time, so he's okay. And then there's Darrell Carmichael, who's right now rated above them. We don't know what his man or zone coverage is. Physically, though, he ran a 4.43 and a 4.38 40 time. He's got elite acceleration. He's got, let's see, great strength. It looks like physically he's a good prospect. Skills, he has B awareness, B tackle, D play recognition, but he's got C press. I'm going to take a shot in the dark here because we don't know what his man and zone coverage ratings are, but he's at least a really good athlete. So with the B awareness, I feel like he's probably going to be at least like a 70 or 71. Let's go ahead and draft cornerback Darrell Carmichael. All right, and he's normal dev. He's 6'3", 201 pounds. He's got 95 acceleration, 93 speed. He's also got 92 agility and 95 change of direction. Because we don't have a second and a third round pick, I'm actually just going to sim the rest of the draft and let the computer pick the rest of our draft class. So let's go ahead and see how good Carmichael is, as well as the rest of the players in this draft class. Wow, and Carmichael is actually better than I expected. He's a 77 overall. So even though he's only normal dev, that's really, really good. It looks like, let's see if we can see his man coverage. So he comes in with 66 tackling, 69 play recognition. And then he has 77 man coverage, only 72 zone coverage, but he also has 79 pursuit. So that's really, really good. And he's got 70 press as well. Looks like we also got a running back for some reason, a defensive end, a defensive tackle, and a wide receiver. They were all in the 60s. The wide receiver at least has 90 speed and 93 acceleration, and so does the running back. So at least there'll be good depth pieces for us as well. Let's go ahead and look at the guys at the top of the draft. It looks like the cornerback that went over number 1 overall was an 80 overall. The first quarterback taken was a 73, followed by a 75. Let's see. Overall in the draft, it looks like there was a running back that was an 84 overall that went to the Browns. His name is Nick Johnson. There was a quarterback that was a 78. Running back was 77. Carmichael, who was our pick, is a 77, and he's actually looks like a top, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, top 5 prospect in this draft. So not too bad. We ended up picking him like middle of the first round. So I'm really happy with that pick. I think we got pretty lucky because we didn't know what his man or his zone coverage skills were. But overall, it looks like a pretty good draft. Most of the best players went in the first and second round, followed by this safety that went in the fourth round. It's 73 overall. All right, so as it stands, it looks like our overall rating is an 87. Our offense is an 87 as well, but our defense is an 88. So Kenny Pickett's a 78 overall, Harris is a 94, Johnson's a 91, Juju's an 86. Looks like Freiermuth is an 82. Our O-line is looking okay. Okorafor is a 78, Turner's an 80, Green's a 79, Dotson's an 80, and Armstead, he's a beast. He's still a 95 overall. And then it looks like on defense, Hayward is now just a star dev, but he's a 92 overall still. Joseph Day's an 87. Tuitt's an 89. Greedy Williams is an 82. Murphy Bunting's an 83. Fitzpatrick's a 95. He's also a superstar dev. Our linebackers are looking pretty good. Highsmith, Barnes, and Bush are all star dev in the low 80s. TJ is a 99 overall. He's a superstar X Factor. And Terrell Edmonds is also now a star dev, and he's an 82 overall. So that looks pretty solid. Let's go ahead and sim the season and how we do in the final year of this rebuild. Alright, so we finished 11-6, so we're number 2 in the AFC North. That's pretty good. We're an 89 overall team now, and we also made the playoffs. So it looks like we're going to be taking on the Indianapolis Colts. The number 1 seed in the AFC is the Kansas City Chiefs, and the number 1 seed in the NFC is the Dallas Cowboys. Kenny Pickett had a pretty solid year. He threw for 4,400 yards, 37 touchdowns, and 14 interceptions. He also has a 67% completion percentage, and then right now he's an 85 overall, so that's pretty good. Looking at rushing, it looks like Harris had 1,600 yards rushing and 17 touchdowns. That's fantastic. Johnson, it looks like, again, we didn't have a receiver eclipse 1,000 yards, but Johnson had 979 yards receiving and 9 touchdowns. Claypool had 858 yards receiving and 9 touchdowns. And then Juju also had 830 yards and 9 touchdowns. Harris had 729 yards receiving and 3 TDs. And then Freiermuth had 699 yards and 5 TDs. So it's really balanced, spread out across the whole offense for the passing yards. It looks like Harris, though, had a ton of yards both receiving and rushing. And then looking at the defense, Greedy Williams, our corner, actually led the team in tackles, followed by Chris Barnes. Tackle for loss was led by Cameron Hayward with 19. It looks like Hayward also led the team in sacks with 11.5. TJ Watt had 11 sacks. And then Murphy Bunting, Minkah Fitzpatrick, and Emmanuel Mosley all had 4 interceptions. Greedy Williams had 2, followed by a couple players with 1. So here's our lineup. It looks like Harris is all the way up to a 99, Johnson's a 93, Juju is an 87, and then Freiermuth is an 85. The O-line looks pretty good. They're all in the 80s now, and then Armstead's a 96. And then looking at the defense, it looks like Joseph Day is up to an 88, Tuitt's an 89, Greedy Williams is an 84, Murphy Bunting is an 86, Minkah's a 97, and then our linebackers still are in the low 80s, but still doing good. TJ's still a 99, and then Edmonds is an 83. Let's go ahead and sim the first week of the playoffs and see how we do. Alright, so we actually lost to the Colts 31-10. I'm really happy with this rebuild because this team is pretty solid. Moving into the future, I think if Kenny Pickett continued to progress and get even better, this team could have a legitimate shot at a Super Bowl. I'm going to sim to the very end of the Super Bowl, just see who wins the championship game in this final season of the rebuild. Alright, and it looks like the Chicago Bears beat the Kansas City Chiefs. They won 37-31 to win their second Super Bowl of all time. It looks like the Super Bowl MVP was Robert Quinn, their outside linebacker. The NFL MVP was Lamar Jackson. Coach of the Year was Mike McCarthy. Offensive Player of the Year was Lamar. The Defensive Player of the Year was Joey Bosa. The Offensive Rookie of the Year was quarterback Warren Clement for the Saints. And then the Defensive Rookie of the Year was Charles Barber. Thanks for checking out my video, guys. If you're new to the channel, do me a favor, like, comment, and subscribe. I'm going to keep doing these off-season realistic rebuilds. Let me know in the comment section what you guys thought of the video, and hope you have a great day. Peace.